Welcome back to another Professional Picks college basketball video. Today we're looking at number 1 Arizona going up against number 3 Purdue. Much like the Gonzaga versus UConn game that we just previewed, this is a neutral site, but this game is in Indianapolis, so I would expect a slight Purdue home crowd being out of West Lafayette. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and let me know what you're taking in the comments as well. But let's get into this matchup. Purdue is 9-1, and Arizona is undefeated at 8-0. Both teams do start 7-footers. See there, Zach Edey and Umar Ballo. No one in college basketball can stop Zach Edey. He's averaging the second most points in the country at 24.8 points per game, and he's doing it while shooting 63% from the field. But Umar Ballo will at least be able to slow him down a little bit, more than others have. He has a 7'6" wingspan, and then Arizona also has Krivas, 7'2", off the bench as well. Not quite as big or tall as Zach Edey is, but they'll at least be a little more well equipped to slow him down than other teams have been. Keshad Johnson, um, I think will be a little bit of a mismatch for Trey Kaufman-Renn with his physicality. But I do expect Purdue to go a little bit more with the experienced Mason Gillis and Caleb First, probably early and often in this one. Both teams can go 5 deep on their benches. I'm really expecting a chess match type of game with both Painter and Lloyd trying to take advantage of the matchups. The guards are a little bit bigger on the Arizona side, especially college basketball. Size is just so important, but at the same time, Zach Edey masks a lot of the smaller guards on Purdue. But moving on, KenPom has Arizona at number 2 and Purdue at number 3. Both teams are top 10 offensively and defensively. I sort of like the fact that Purdue had their first loss and Arizona hasn't yet. Gives them somewhat of a wake-up call, make those early season adjustments. The downside is they lost to Northwestern, who that loss is looking a lot worse now because they just dropped one to Chicago State, who's number 321 in KenPom. So at the same time, kind of evens out. But regardless, I do like that Purdue has one loss on the season versus Arizona, especially with two teams that are so evenly matched. Just talking about KenPom has them at 2 and 3, basically even in their adjusted ranking. Arizona does average the most rebounds in the country as a team. Put rebounding there as their strength. But Purdue also not far behind. They're number 9. Both these teams shoot about 40% from the 3-point line. Very efficient overall. Arizona does average more points on the season than Purdue, but Purdue has a higher offensive rating according to KenPom, and that's because they've played a brutal schedule so far. They have 4 wins over teams in the top 11 currently in KenPom, so they haven't been padding their stats against lesser competition and really looked dominant up until that loss against Northwestern. Didn't shoot the ball great from 3, had a lot of turnovers. Not the most experienced backcourt, but not starting any freshmen. I do think they'll bounce back. On the other hand, Arizona's played the 128th rated schedule. I mean, they've played some good teams. Still got that win against Duke at Cameron Indoor, which is very, very impressive win. Duke hadn't lost there the entire season before. But then a win against Michigan State, pretty close game. Michigan State sitting at 4-5. I still think they're much better than what the record shows. Regardless, Purdue's played the tougher schedule and has really dominated in those games. Edey will get his points, but I put Braden Smith there as the X factor. He's the dynamic playmaker, 6 in assists in all of college basketball at the moment, but he's going to need a bigger night scoring to keep him in this one. Arizona averages over 90 points per game, so they're going to need it from everyone on top of Zach Edey, even averaging over 24 points. But Braden Smith, as mentioned, averaging 13 points per game right now. Did have a 27-point performance in the last one against Alabama. If you could have a similar game, doesn't need to be 27 points, but closer to the 20 mark, you're getting almost 50 between him and Edey. I'd really like their chances in this one. Also, I'll make an apology to Caleb Love. He has been playing really well, only shooting 41.5% from the field on the season, but that's an improvement for him. And he does take those late shot clock bailouts for his team. Give it to him with just a few seconds left when they need something to happen. So, and even at the end of halves, end of games, so he does take those tougher shots. So his lesser field goal percentage is somewhat justified. On top of that, his assist to turnover ratio for the first time in his career is over 2. So he's really playing solid basketball. Doesn't have to do too much, surrounded by all that talent on the Arizona side, and it's really helping his game out. I did decide to put Kylan Boswell as the X factor for Arizona. He'll probably be matched up with Braden Smith in this one and trying to slow him down. He's a really good defender, solid, yeah, really, honestly, probably NBA ready type build already in his second year. Only 6'2", but strong player. But at the same time, he was just looking through stats. He did go 5 for 15 from the field in the close one against MSU. Kind of kept him in it, shooting inefficiently in that one, but he's still shooting 50% from the field on the season. I'm curious to see how he plays in his biggest start of his career. I could really go on and on about this matchup. They're stacked players on both sides of the ball, and this could very well end up being the national championship matchup come March or early April. But each side has an answer for whatever the other one will throw at them. It's going to be an awesome game. It's going to be a real chess match. And Tommy Lloyd's been a great coach for Arizona. Only been there 2 years, but really just, I think, just over 10 losses between 2 seasons, which is a ridiculous number. But my heart is still leaning towards Purdue. Matt Painter is a great coach. He's been a great coach for over the last decade. My head is also saying Arizona has a little bit overall more talent. It's tough to say how much Zach Edey can take over this game with a ton of threats on both sides of the ball. The line currently is sitting at Purdue -1. Hasn't come out on the books yet, but some websites have the opening lineup. And they do have that slight home court advantage, as we talked about, so I'm not surprised. I am leaning towards Purdue at the official moment, at the moment, but there is no official bet at this time. Check out Profit of Picks on Twitter, and there will probably be a play for this one, but I can't give it out yet. Just looking through the stats, both these teams are just dominating. They're top 10 in pretty much every category. The reason I lean with Purdue, they have that slight home court advantage. I like the fact that they have a 1 loss on the season because these teams are very even. Getting that 1 loss out of the way is going to benefit you rather than being undefeated when there's just 2 top teams playing each other. And then on top of that, just the Zach Edey X factor, who will be the best player on the court, probably the best player in all of college basketball right now. But that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and good luck this weekend on your bets. Let me know what you're taking in the comments, and if there's any other matchups that you guys want to see coming up.